friends, welcome back to my channel, or just welcome to my channel. It's been such a long time since I last posted anything because after my first semester of my senior year I got married and then I was student teaching and I didn't want to worry about filming and all that and working and student teaching all at the same time. So I took a little break, and really the last time I filmed was just for me to practice a little bit and get some of the cringiness out of the way before I started filming for my actual teaching channel. So welcome back, or just welcome to my channel. My name is Jade and I am going to be a first grade teacher this year, which I'll get into a little bit more with my life update. So like I said, I got married, I started student teaching, I finished student teaching, I graduated, then I subbed for a month, and that was really fun. I got a great experience out of that, made some connections, and got into some more schools. And then I am currently teaching at summer learning camp, which is kind of like summer school, and that has been hard and long, but it has been fun. Next week is my last week of that. And like I said, I am going to be a first grade teacher, which means I did get a job that I'm so excited for. It was my first and then ended up being my only interview, and I was so nervous. But I got the job and I got the grade that I wanted at the school that I wanted in the county that I wanted, and I am just beyond excited about that. Also, I just got a puppy, a little husky, which I'll share a picture of, and I am moving because I can't have the puppy here. So got a puppy and I'm moving, and I will be starting my first year of teaching in just under a month. So those are all of my exciting life updates in just a couple minutes. I could talk forever about each of those things, but I just wanted to do a brief update to begin with. I definitely could have talked forever about each one of those life updates, but I just wanted to give you a quick update about what's been going on and why I haven't posted anything, and now why I'm coming back. And then I just want to give some student teaching advice. Since I just student taught my last semester of my senior year, I student taught first grade, and every county, school, university, college, teacher, cooperating teacher, it's all different, but I think some advice applies to all counties, teachers, schools, everything like that. I know I watched a lot of videos before I student taught, and I really didn't find too many videos. I found some vlogs and some advice videos, but a lot of the advice I got was really good, but it was like stay organized, and I'm already really organized, or be on time, be prompt, be early, dress like you are trying to get a job every day there. And I kind of already knew those things, not because they're obvious, but because I had already heard those from my professors. And so I wanted to give some advice that I haven't heard as much of, and what I wish I would have heard before I started student teaching. So my first piece of advice is to be prepared. And this one is another one of those obvious ones, but I'm talking more about go ahead and look at your standards, especially if you know what grade you're going to be student teaching in, or maybe even the section of grades, like if you're going to be in lower L, K through second, go ahead and give those a brief overview. And then if you know the grades, go ahead and print out those standards and study them and what comes before and what comes after, and really dig deep into those standards with the time that you have. The other thing I would say is to look at whatever requirements you have for your university, whatever requirements you have for whatever assessment you're taking. So I had to do EdTPA, and so I spent a long time, because I had the Christmas break before I started student teaching. I looked at those rubrics. I think there was, I can't remember now because it has been a while, but maybe like 15, 14 rubrics. I printed them out, I tore them apart, I highlighted them, I looked at examples, and I mean, that's all I really could do because I didn't know my grade yet. And so I looked at reading and math ones and took notes, and looked at the progression of the rubrics and what the actual scorers use. And so I would definitely recommend looking and diving in deep to whatever you have to do. The next piece of advice I wish I would have heard, or I think that some people need to hear, is to balance humility and confidence. I watched so many videos that were saying like to be confident and to be bold, and yes, that's true. You do want to be confident and bold. You've learned all of these things. you know how to write lesson plans now, but there's still a lot that you don't know. And so I think it's really important to come in with a posture of humility while also being confident and accepting criticism, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. But definitely balance that confidence and that humility, knowing that you are prepared and that you are going to succeed, but also that you do need help from your cooperating teacher and mentors. My next piece of advice would be to find a friend, which I think is another kind of obvious one, but one that I didn't really plan on, but definitely kind of happened. And I was in a group chat with the other student teachers in my graduating class, but that was more helpful for what do I do with this part of EdTPA, or what date is this supposed to be due, and those kind of things. But it was more important for me to find one person to be able to vent to, confide in, stress out with, and just kind of pour that into. So that way I knew I could trust that one person, and we could just, after we had a long day, call each other for 30 minutes or an hour or however long we needed to just say what we were feeling and recognize that we weren't alone in the process. And I feel like that's better to do with one person rather than a whole group. The next thing I would suggest is to take all the notes. And I know that a lot of us have to take notes anyways for like one of our requirements for university, but I would definitely say take all the notes that you don't even think you need to take. Yeah, take notes on what's actually going on throughout the day, but make sure you take notes of how the teacher is getting their attention and how the students respond, those back and forth chants, because that's what the students already know. Take note of how they transition and what she says to transition them. All those little things, how she or he opens, how they close, and all those little tiny things that you would think would be obvious, but then you get to it and you freeze and you don't know what to do, or at least I did. So I just think that helps with making it smoother and not as awkward, and allowing you to more seamlessly pick up some more of the roles so that you know exactly what to do. And I know my teacher at the end of the year took just a day, and there was a sub, but she knew that I was there, and so she let me take care of the whole day. And the last thing that I can say that I've thought of, I'm sure there's a lot more advice that I could give, is to not get in your own way. And what I mean by that is to let criticism that you receive from your cooperating teacher or your university mentor inspire change. It's really easy to receive criticism and feel defensive and not want to change things, but I can promise you they just want to help you grow, especially if you have a good one, which I did. And yeah, I would just suggest taking that criticism, taking a moment. You can feel, I mean, it hurts a little bit. It does stink to receive that criticism, but in the long run, it's just going to help you grow and become a better teacher. If you don't change anything, then you're not going to grow. You would just stay the same as you were when you came in. And so I think that's really the point of, one of the points of student teaching is to grow. And you're in a safe environment where if you make mistakes, there's a teacher there, they're there to help you. And it's important to realize that, and some might tell you that their principal will observe them and will always have things to always have notes for them to grow. So no matter how well you do on a lesson, there's always going to be room for improvement. So if you do receive that constructive criticism, just take it and make the change, and then they will take note of that, and it will look really good when you're looking for jobs or whenever you get your evaluations, that you weren't afraid to make the changes that they suggested and that you trusted them as your cooperating teacher. And the other thing I would say, just the last little bit, is about imposter syndrome. I feel like, I definitely still have imposter syndrome, going to be a first year teacher, but as a student teacher, I think it's important to realize that how you're feeling is valid. You're not the teacher, you're not the regular teacher, and therefore you shouldn't feel like you have to be them or act like them. You still have your own personality and your own interest and strengths and weaknesses and room to grow. And so you might not feel like you're their teacher, and that's because you're not. You're a student teacher, you're under their teacher, you're working with your cooperating teacher, but you are not them, and you never will be them, and that's great because we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. So whenever you're feeling that imposter syndrome, don't try and shake it away or try and, I wouldn't even say which, I feel like I watched some videos that said like, no, you've got this, and they were very empowering, and that's true. You have been trained these last 4 or how many ever years before you've started student teaching. You have been trained, you have gone through the classes, written the lesson plans, you are prepared for student teaching, but that imposter syndrome is coming from feeling like you're not their actual teacher, and you're not, you're the student teacher. And so I would just say to recognize that, sit with it, and then realize that that's okay. You're allowed to feel that way, because we really don't know what we're doing. I mean, you might, but I really feel like I didn't know what I was doing, and I don't know what I'm doing now, and that's okay, because we were given all these people to help us succeed and grow. So that's all of the advice that I have for you. If you have any questions, you can definitely leave them in the comments below or DM. I did make a teacher Instagram finally. It is First Grade with Jade, and I'll leave that handle down below if you already were following me here on YouTube before my Instagram. I definitely think I like YouTube better. It is more nerve-wracking, so I definitely like the YouTube platform better than Instagram. I just feel like Instagram, we all kind of mesh together and it kind of get lost. But if you are not following me on Instagram, you can go ahead and check that out. I'm going to try and do better about posting on there and posting regularly on YouTube. So you can subscribe if you'd like to see more. I'm going to be posting all of the first year teacher content. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can comment below or DM me on Instagram. See you next time. Bye.